right, so our first match to break down this week is the Storm Watchers versus the Lake Serperiors, and what a crazy one. There was one play in particular that cost the Lake Serperiors the game. And why don't you tell the people what happened here?
Yeah, I've seen hacks determine matches, but to see the flinch happen exactly when he needed it was insane.
Yeah.
To go, I believe he used Waterfall on Rotom Wash and got the 20% flinch, and I literally like gasped for a second when I was watching it, because I was just like, oh my goodness, he got it.
Yeah, and that was the one he needed. I think
the one.
Yeah, that was nuts. So basically, once the Moxie train started rolling, it was just rolling at a very rapid rate, and just started clobbering Pokemon one after another. And I actually talked to these Storm Watchers today, and they said that initial bulk up Mirror Herb is what allowed them to even kill like one of the first two Pokemon.
Yeah, that was an impressive bit of strategy to use to kind of bait bulk up and use that against them.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty slick. I was quite impressed seeing that as well.
Yeah. So I know I did comment on the video, like, man, I'm shocked it took until week 5 for someone to set up, use Mirror Herb on a setup team.
Yeah.
But there actually was somebody who used Mirror Herb, and it was the Pod Squad, but it wasn't effective because the Glaceon is just not fast enough to outspeed anything and make use of it. So the better way to say it is the first time that Mirror Herb was used effectively against the Lake Serperiors.
Yeah, and with something that you're kind of expecting to set up, you want to be something that's efficient enough to be able to use it to its advantage after.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, Glaceon's not particularly fast, but something like Gyarados, where it's already carrying Dragon Dance as well, it can kind of play off that boost itself and just become even scarier.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the bulk up sponge that Sucker Punch from the Ariados. I know Ariados is not the bulkiest Pokemon, or not the bulkiest, the most offensive Pokemon, but it's still, I would assume that thing was Sniper. So, like, a crit probably could have killed. But that was a game of chance. But, yeah, it was just kind of crazy to hear that the bulk up was needed for that sweep to happen.
Yeah, that was something else.
Yeah, because I think he was trying to use it on, like, Torterra. But just the fact...
like, Iron Defense?
Oh, no, for a Shell Smash.
Oh.
He planned for a Shell Smash to happen on Torterra.
So you take all the boosts with
Yes.
Mirror Herb, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I think you only take the positive.
Yeah.
So...
Yikes.
Yeah. So it was kind of nuts. If he didn't bring Moxie, I think Intimidate with Mirror Herb could have worked too. Because if all he needed was +2, you run Intimidate and Mirror Herb, and you intimidate the Annihilate, who's Defiant, you get +2 immediately. While they're only +1.
Oh, I wouldn't have. Oh, yeah. I
So like
considered Mirror Herb playing into play there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was brilliant tech. I was impressed seeing that. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
To kind of use that against him worked out so well.
Yeah. And it's nice to see Gyarados kind of like towards the top of the leaderboard, because I will say I think it got crippled with its moveset translating into this generation, because it had Power Whip, which is fantastic coverage. I can't remember some of the other things it lost, but I'm pretty sure the Power Whip was the big one. You know, so
it lost bounce too, didn't it?
I think so. You know, so it lost a strong flying stab. You gotta run like Flying Terra, which you can't in this league to even get strong flying coverage. But so yeah, I don't want to make this whole thing about the Gyarados, even though it was a huge factor.
I think the other key was that Cloudfire was able to cripple a lot, because you saw a lot of those toxic spikes eventually just kind of chipped away at a lot of things too.
I think it used Toxic instead of Stealth Rock.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah. But
the Toxic did help.
The more that he kind of kept forcing switches to try to neutralize things, that just always works in your favor.
Yeah. Yep. I did think that the Volcanion set was pretty fun, being a Flame Charge physical set.
Yeah, that caught me off guard as well. I also really appreciated Thunder Bellybolt as well.
Yeah, that was definitely good prep on the Lake Serperiors.
Great use of taking your opponent's range setter and using it against them.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, I thought that was a good prep on the Lake Serperiors part.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Now, I will say, I think this battle could have ended differently if the Lake Serperiors did certain swaps, like the order of like when things got swapped in. So like once that Gyarados started steamrolling, I'm pretty sure that Bellybolt could have tanked a hit.
I think so. That I was surprised to see it kind of almost conserved for the end.
Yeah.
But and I've been in this position before in some tough matches. Sometimes when you're facing something that snowballs, it kind of messes with you a little bit, because you start going, oh, well, crap, I really have to work fast to slow this down.
Yeah.
Because, like, in week 1, when I got absolutely blasted by the Corphish, like, once that got set up, I just had nothing. And I kind of panicked a little bit. But I don't know if that's what happened, but sometimes when you're facing something that snowballs, you have to be very precise when you're slowing it down, and if you don't get that precision just right, it just makes it worse.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So I mean, I don't know calcs, So it it didn't matter. But I mean, just from like an outsider's point, like, oh, maybe this could have worked, or this could have worked, or if Rotom was the first to come out. I think it was like the second Pokemon to come out. I can't remember.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, so like it was already like +2 or +3 at that point. So, but yeah, trying to think here. I think that's about it for this battle. I mean, Bellybolt went ham in the beginning. I was like, man, this thing's going crazy.
Yeah, at the beginning I thought Bellybolt's just going to be a problem this whole match, and then Gyarados came in and flipped the script really well.
Oh yeah. So, yeah, poor Annihilate.
Never had a chance.
Yeah, it hasn't been. I know that the Lake Serperiors are trying to get more kills with it, or just like use it more, because it is like it's an uber Pokemon for a reason.
Yeah, it's so good.
But it has yet to get a kill. But at the same time, we saw it with me, with Haxorus. Haxorus is top tier Pokemon. I couldn't make it work, so I got rid of it. Same with the Namorous.
And sometimes it's just when you have things that are really good, they don't work because you're able to find more effective threats around like a core. So
yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we're gonna end it here with this matchup here. It's almost 10 minutes for just this one. So, but it was a really important match. So the win for the Storm Watchers put them in a tie record, but differential really set them apart. So the Lake Superiors sunk a little bit in differential. And excuse me, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So we're going to go on to the next matchup. All right, so the next matchup is the D.C.United Tyranitars and the Charizard Champions. And I forgot to officially introduce who's on call with me. Zirkle, coach of the Vaultin Veluzas. Go ahead and say hi.
What's up?
Okay, sorry, we didn't do that for the first team one. But we're going to do it for the second one, please. So this battle, this happened very beginning of the week. So it's the furthest away from my memory. But there was one set I wanted to talk about in particular, and it was that Thundurus. That thing had Blunder Policy with Nasty Plot and Focus Blast. And obviously the Focus Blast missed. And so now that thing's sitting there at +2 speed, +2 special attack. That thing was nuts. I mean, even though it was countered. Oh wait, was that this match?
I don't think so. I believe he had Assault Vest.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking about the week prior. Oh, this is what I'm talking about. This is so far away. That was a cool set. I got to call it out for a second week in a row.
I really appreciate when people take things that are faster and add a layer of bulk to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like an Assault Vest Thundurus, it's not something that you would expect. And he really used it well with Zapdos, or around Zapdos, because I distinctly remember a point where he predicted Zapdos would Volt Switch and sent Thundurus in to absorb it and read it perfectly.
Yeah.
And that kind of set the stage for the late game.
Yeah. I do think, though, that from very early in the game, the ball was in the Charizard Champions court. They were playing very aggressively, I think, and making good decisions. And, I'm not saying it was just one-sided, but I thought that the Charizard Champions had more control throughout the whole match.
Yeah, the way they kind of switched around and predicted things, they were very ahead of the curve.
Mm-hmm.
And in a lot of matches, that's important. Being able to predict and be kind of ready for what your opponent's going to do really can swing a match in your favor.
Oh, yeah. It was nice to see the low kicks make its debut and get 3 freaking kills.
Yeah, it left a good first impression.
That's a good one. King of puns, everybody. The Vaultin Veluzas. Also, king of great nicknames. So when you see Vaultin Veluzas on that thumbnail, you better expect something good. So, but yeah, low kicks getting 3, Thundurus getting 2. I spelled Thundurus terribly wrong on the spreadsheet. Then Ninetales picking off something.
Thunderstuff.
What's that?
Thunderstuff.
Thunderstruck.
Yeah, it's but yeah, the using Thundurus and kind of pivoting and protecting Ninetales was a big part of why they were able to win late.
Yeah.
Because without Aurora Veil, I don't think Low Kicks is able to survive enough to keep that momentum going at the end.
Mm-hmm. I'm afraid to say stuff because I feel like I'm gonna mix it up with the Ledybas battle.
We can recap that one next, just so you don't.
Well, I mean that was last week's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was his battle last week. I keep mixing it up. Yeah, low kicks was super dominant. Zapdos yet again, just basically the glue holding this team. The Forest or the Tyranitars team together. It's always getting kills. It's always just being annoying. An annoying Pokemon to deal with.
Static with whatever item you pair with Zapdos just automatically makes it a problem. It's already fast, so.
Oh yeah. So you could really cripple, physical attackers. And unfortunately, we saw a big misplay on the Tyranitar side. We saw a turn 2 fake out.
Yeah, that one I was very surprised.
Yeah.
But and it could have been a misclick. Those do happen.
And after talking to him too, we were in a big group call when we watched it. He forgot that it was in a turn.
Oh.
So I think he switched. No, he hadn't. No, because you can switch in and then fake out. So it had to have already been in a single turn.
I think he went knock off the previous turn, and then went to the fake out after.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of just surprised that the Dondozo just has not been that big of a problem. It's been brought, but like it hasn't been like just an absolute annoyance like when you see it in team preview in the 3v3 ladder.
With it being such a tank, yeah, you would expect it can do so much. It can be really annoying, especially with yawn pressure.
Yeah. Which I'll touch on this more in the KO leaders breakdown. But if you look at the top 15, it's going to change slightly. But there's a good amount of grass Pokemon in the top 15 for kills. Electric Pokemon as well. So maybe this is a factor. There's a lot of good strong counters to the Dondozo, week to week. Because I would think like a Curse, Wave Crash, Rest Sleep Talk set would just annihilate opponents. You know what I mean? But, that's not happening. But this team in particular really countered the Dondozo with possibly a Freeze Dry on Ninetales. Thunderous, countering it pretty hard. So, like, this particular matchup, I get. Yeah, I don't really have too much else to say about this one. Is there anything else you wanted to point out?
No, I think we've got it covered.
Yeah, I think we got it covered good. In terms of like the effect on the Charizard Champions winning, definitely helped their record, and then put the D.C.United Tyranitars still in a winnable spot for playoffs, or like a playoff seed, but it's just kind of sitting there in the middle of the pack. So the Tyranitars want to guarantee themselves a spot. Same with the Charizard Champions. They got to continue to win these next 2 weeks to help guarantee their spot in playoffs. So that's about it. And we're just going to dive right into the next matchup. All right, so our next matchup is the Lakeside Ledybas and the Cortando Corphish. What have you open up about this badge?
I've been in his shoes. It's not pretty to lose bad. But to that sending in the Probo Pass to trap Klefki so she could set up was insane. Magnet Pull's not a common approach, but to use it here was quite a surprise.
Yeah, so I actually talked to the coach of the Lakeside Ledybas, I think the day of, but the day prior. And she was saying that was the plan, from the get-go, is to trap that Klefki. And we saw how effective it was. That was nuts. Yeah. So that was super good prep on the Ledybas end. And it caught you off guard, and I'm pretty sure that it caught the Corphish's off guard as well. It just you would expect not as much with the Probo Pass, but if used correctly, this thing can be a threat, just like any other Pokemon. So we got everybody fearing like these high point Pokemon. Enamorous, for example, it's got killed every time, doesn't even have a kill. But then you got Probo Pass here sitting at 2 points and claiming half the Corphish's team. So it's fun. It's fun to see how different coaches pilot certain Pokemon and make a considered bad Pokemon great.
Sometimes the best advantage is what you're not expecting.
I agree. Did you happen to have more insight about the Cortando Corphish's team?
So I know they had some planned ideas, but once Lefty got trapped, a lot of their approaches just weren't going to work. They had to kind of figure out how to get rid of the Probopass. And I thought they could have played a little bit of the end differently, and sent Mew in a little earlier to try to neutralize the Probopass, but just not quite as efficient as it could have been.
Yeah. I hope I don't get in trouble for this, revealing secrets. But I was told that the team was kind of slow, and so there wasn't as much speed investment on the Rabambi. It was actually invested more into defense. So that's why that thing was able to live a Rock Slide from an Iron Hands.
Yeah, that caught me off guard. I think she kind of flipped a lot of what the Corphish prepared for and just kind of used it against him. Because he told me he was really prepared for a lot more speed control and got a lot more bulk instead. Yeah. Which will definitely throw off strategy.
Yeah, because with the rain, I mean, the Ledybas have a scary speed stat with 2 Swift Swimmers, you know, and you know, the Rabambi obviously being super fast, you know, so the speed is there, you know. Very fast team. I was shocked initially to see that the Mew wasn't set up Mew, but it was nice to see a change, like a different type of set for a Mew, you know, because like people watching, you know, or like opponents that are watching all of his battles and seeing, you know, a different type of setup every week, you know, to change it up, you know, it changes the predictability of, it just adds more to the Mew's. How in the heck do I plan this for this thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was nice to see it change up. And I did think the shift tree was super interesting. It had, I believe, Endure Weakness Policy and Reversal Terra Fighting.
Yeah.
That was.
I think if he would have had a chance to really set that, I think he could have really been a problem. But the position he ended up in just didn't allow for the creativity to work.
And then the Spidops would have been problematic for that, so the Spidops would have had to have been gone for that to work.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool to see the Goodra set up acid armor. I did think that was a very interesting tech. Really adds to that thing's bulk. Because I've said every single week that I'm doing a review on the match, the Goodra is always just so tanky. Like, it's always under screens, living physical hits, eating special attacks for breakfast, you know, and then here's this thing setting up acid armors, you know.
Yeah, it's a unit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have one, too. Yours is just as scary, except it's steel type.
Yeah.
Can't poison it. So, yeah, I mean, not too much to talk about this match. I mean, I think we already addressed everything that really needed to get talked about. So yeah, we'll probably just end it here, and then we will move on to the next one. And next up, we have the Ball Rollers taking on the Huntingdon Houndooms, and we're super happy because the Huntingdon Houndooms picked up their first win of the season, and it was super hype. You know, it was glad to see the excitement in his commentary. So we're all happy for the Huntingdon Houndooms. Let's see, Bombardier being an absolute monster this match, claiming 2 kills in 2 turns. Mamoswine was pretty well played, I gotta say.
Oh, yeah, him swapping in to kind of take the attack and then returning it back was a gutsy move, but it paid off.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you got to take risks.
Yeah. So I did notice in the move sets that it carried Iron Head, and I don't think Iron Head covers much of the Ball Rollers team. I'm pretty sure it was possibly... Oh, I'm looking at the wrong side. I'm pretty sure it was brought to cover for, like, maybe Azu or something. Carbink. Probably Carbink, honestly. But Ice Shard would have got that thing a second kill and put him in just that much better of a position.
Yeah, that kind of surprised me as well, not seeing
The Ice Shard?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one.
But, I mean, it was still well played, you know. I'm not going to say the possible set. I'll probably just message him a set that I think he should use. But it'd be pretty fun if he actually brings it. But I'm going to keep my lips zipped up here. But yeah, it's also kind of cool to see the Quackable start snowballing too, you know. That was a good pickup for him. Oh, gotta call out to the Bright Powder on Miss Magius. Was hilarious. It didn't prompt, but
yeah, he did actually when I fought him have the Bright Powder as well, and I think I missed like Energy Ball or something, and I had to laugh a little bit. There's something funny. There's something fun about kind of a trolley item like that.
Mm-hmm. And like, it happens, but like when it happens, it's more so funny. I mean,
yeah,
one of these days it's gonna get brought and cost a match, and it's gonna cause a stink. But it's still just funny because it's such a low, like a high risk of like wasting like an item, a valuable item, but like a 10% chance to just wreak havoc.
Yeah, I love kind of silly stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Which is why I didn't ban it, because it was originally banned, based off of like Pokegame stuff. But
fair enough.
Yep. I will say what cost the Ball Rollers the match, was not the miss on Air Slash with Kilowatt Roll. It did affect it, but I think the setup is trying to set up was too much. You know, they're probably trying to like snowball with Roaring Moon, and it got countered. The Poltegeist set up, and it got countered. It was just setup right after setup right after setup. You know, and then I think that's where the Houndooms was able to handle the setup well and get the damage necessary. I did think it was very interesting that they ran Terra Blast as a coverage move.
Yeah, it was that kind of that surprised me, because I was like, it's not one of his Terra Captains.
It's not.
It's a very unusual approach.
Especially going up against a team with 2 ghosts. It's pretty ballsy, but it got a lot of damage off. You know, I will say, like, holy crap, that did some work. You know, so it was interesting, but, you know, hey, you know, if it works, it works. You know what I mean? Garganackle snagging a kill. Yeah,
that was pretty sneaky too. The Garganackle just kind of being there to sponge, and it almost left him able to kind of make the comeback. But I think eventually, he would have ran out of time.
Yeah. So I will say, I mean, The ball rollers messaged me afterwards, and so I talked to him for a minute, and he was like, "Yeah, the Garganackle was just scaring away all these water types. He was banking on, like the previous week, he was banking on, I think, Adam, the Charizard Champions, to bring, Melodic, and he didn't. Scared that away. And then I think he was also trying to scare away Toxapex, in particular. He was trying to like use that for Toxapex.
I think sometimes there is some mind games where your opponent's going to prepare for something specific, so you don't bring it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe that's where the kind of approach comes in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just crazy when it comes to like team prep, like, and this goes to show like just how just the presence of one Pokemon can affect what doesn't get brought against your team, So it is interesting because it also prevents steals from coming in, which helps Azumarill in particular because it's fairy type, and then Ice Q for being ice type. Well, and it also helps Carbink too. So it helps a lot, Let's see here. Let me look at the other things. So yeah, the miss did suck on Kilowattrel. That thing should like wear some glasses so that way it doesn't miss moves. It missed Thunder, which cost them the loss against the Storm Watchers, and then it missed the Air Slash, which caused him to die to Bomberger. So it's very unfortunate, but this is part of the hacks that happen, and it's part of the game,
Yep.
Yeah, other than that, I think that about wraps up this matchup here.
Yep, I think so. But again, shout out to the Houndooms for getting in the win column.
Yes.
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal. Super hype. So yeah, we're just going to jump right into the next matchup.
So our next matchup is the Orlando Orricorios and the Heart Homeless Honeybuns. I actually read that right.
Yes. You didn't pull a me. So what do you want to say about this battle?
It kind of started off, it seemed kind of slow. A lot of back and forth early. King Lu is just, it seemed like there was a lot of like slow kind of crippling early on. That's all King Lu does.
Yeah.
But it really seemed like he was able to kind of use his heavy hitters well. Dragapult finally got to see some action and get a couple knockouts.
Mm-hmm. Which I believe is the Dragapult's first 2 kills of the season.
Yep. And he's been, I think, kind of talking about how he's had this crazy hard hitter that just hasn't gotten to do what it does so well.
Mm-hmm.
But
and that can come to matchups too,
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I think really surprised that he's kind of kept the sort of defensive support Articuno, and we have yet to see Doxbun yet, his other Terra captain. So
yeah, you had to bring it by the end of the season, by the way.
Yeah, because it could really play well with Articuno and Meowscarada. You can just kind of predict a fire move and really take that ability and use it.
Boost your defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing can be a problem, given the right matchup.
Yeah, it's just surprising that it hasn't even appeared yet.
Yeah. Trying to think here. I think things would have been different if the Cloyster Shell Smash turn 1.
Yep.
Because yes, the Icicle Spirit damage was nice, but it was on Ting Lu, right? Who was it?
I think Rotom took that.
Oh yeah, he switched into Rotom, but it might have been Ting Lu open. I would have Shelled Smash for sure.
Yeah.
Worst that could happen, Ruination, half your health. But then the Rotom coming in, I'm pretty sure +2 Rock Blast would have killed.
I think so. And maybe, sometimes it's tough. You can't always predict what's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say it was Icicle Spear, Rock Blast. Did he have Rapid Spin for his other move?
No, I'm pretty sure he had Ice Shard.
Oh, right. Okay.
So, with that said, like, the Rotom Heat would have came in and died to Rock Blast. And then, what's going to come in after? Tinglu. It might live it might live 5, but like it's gonna take massive damage. So like it would have caused a lot of panic, I think. With that initial setup. Articuno didn't want to come in, knowing Rock Blast. Meowscarada, I'm pretty sure it outsped, but I'm pretty sure Ice Shard one-shots Meowscarada at +2.
+6. At +2, yeah. It was kind of odd, like I think the pressure from some of his bulkier Pokemon kind of forced the Orricorios to play more conservatively than they wanted to. Because when you have things like Rotom or other things, sometimes you have to play differently because you don't want to risk like a burn or. But yeah, that was a tough opening, and I think it really kind of offset a lot of his momentum that he could have gained.
Yeah. He had Rain Dance and Damp Rock on Slowbro.
That was interesting.
I'll take the credit for that one. It was interesting because
I was like, because he did have, I think he had Terra Water.
Overflow.
Yeah. That, by the end with Meowscarada, with that auto crit, it's tough.
Yeah.
And if you don't have... Oh, that's another point. When he tried to Foul Stinger with Overquill instead of just
Poison Jab,
going for the Poison Jab.
Yeah.
That really hurt him.
Yeah, I would have definitely went Poison Jab and got the kill. It is tempting. The apple is so close, and you want to reach for it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, reflects up.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was ×4 at that point. If it was ×4 and it outsped, it would have killed for sure. But yeah, that combination with Rain Dance, Rain Dance. Setting up for Overquill. I think the Overquill should have came in and swapped Glamora out, because Glamora could have been useful. Scarfed, because it outsped the Masquerada.
There were... And I thought... I think he was Intimidate.
Yes.
The Overquill was... I was really surprised not to see Swift Swim.
It didn't have Swift Swim?
I don't believe so.
I'm pretty sure it should have had Swift Swim.
Maybe it did. I thought I saw Intimidate, but
oh, you know what?
Could be wrong.
I mean, maybe it was. I don't remember. I know that was the plan. That was the plan.
But it may not have mattered because I think the rain wasn't up at that point.
Yeah, it was not. But it was nice to see the Diplin make an appearance.
Yeah.
That thing is kind of tanky. I started looking into damage calcs for it. I'm like, holy crap. This thing is actually kind of decent. If you're not hitting it with an ice move.
Yeah.
It was cool to see the Iron Thorns come in. Unfortunately, it couldn't tear a bug. But, because that moveset's fun. The Dragon Dance, Terra Bugs, loaded dice with Rock Blast, and Pin Missile. That's just fun,
Yeah, I was kind of confused on what his approach was there. It's not. Yeah,
So
I was not.
it hits Diplin, super effective. And
Okay.
then if the Meowscarada wasn't scarfed, then it would hit that times 4 and outspeed with a Dragon Dance.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and then it also hits Tinglu super effectively too.
Oh, right, because it's ground dark.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, so if it was able to set up 1 or even 2 Dragon Dances, you know, that thing was in trouble. So, but yeah, it just ended up lining up nice with the types. It gained a lot of value losing Manaphy the previous week. Actually, that was partial counter to Manaphy. I lied. But either way, Manaphy going gone essentially made this a lot easier for Cloyster. Because it didn't have to run like a different move just to hit it with. I'm trying to remember. Either way, the Tinglu ended up being pretty good pickup for the Honeybuns, needless to say. Definitely add some bulk. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I really have too much else to say about this one. I think we kind of covered all the bases.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. So yeah, we're just gonna jump right into the next one then.
Up next is the Pod Squad versus the Ann Arbor Alakazams. It's victory for the Alakazam.
Yeah. This was a big win for the Alakazams because this essentially put them in first place now with the Lake Serperiors losing. The 4-0 victory basically shot their differential up enough to where it tied with the Serperiors. And since they won this week and then the Lake Serperiors lost, Alakazams are now on top. So they're new number 1. Let's talk about Greninja. That thing just went ham this battle.
Yeah. Yeah, that battle bond is scary if it gets set.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrifying. And if you don't have anything that can really work around that effectively, you're in for a tough day.
Oh yeah. So let's talk about Battle Bond. Now that you bring it up, do you think the old Battle Bond is better than the new Battle Bond?
I think so. Just because you got a buff to those stats instead of those increases. It kind of gave you more flexibility, I think. Now, does Battle Bond still guarantee Water Shuriken hitting 3 times?
No, that was the old one.
Okay.
The old one, Battle Bond, I don't think it got different stats. Did it?
It gained attack stats.
Okay.
I'm double checking that right now.
Okay. Yeah, but I knew all I knew is that the Water Shuriken was more powerful and it could hit 3 times.
Yeah, it gained 5 power and
that's it.
Hit 3 times.
That's it.
I'm trying to. Let me see. Ask Greninja. Let me see if I can find that.
Yeah, either way, with it getting +1 speed, special attack, and attack, it's nuts, I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can look that up, but I can't find anything.
Yeah.
This will tell me.
But yeah, while you look that up, I think Greninja is a hard Pokemon to plan for. Because it's like one of those jack of all trades. Go ahead. You find it?
Still scrolling through Smogon here.
Okay. You know, because this thing could set up spikes, you know, forcing switches, set up spikes. Also set up toxic spikes. This thing could be physical. Most of the time it's not, but it can.
So Ash Greninja gains 50 base in each attack stat and 10 speed. It used to. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a change, and it can't be hazed away. It keeps those stats upon switch out.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So probably good they nerfed it.
Yeah, I think it definitely had its cons. You know, both of them had their pros and cons. But yeah, Greninja's a threat, and we got to see a good display of that this week. I think the Hippowdon snagged a kill with setting up rocks, so it just goes to show how important rocks is, you know, with hazards.
I think Greninja is just such a problem because it kept the pressure firmly in the Alakazam's corner, so the Pod Squad really never got a chance to set Trick Room to really try to turn it.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, this will probably be a short review for this battle. It was pretty one-sided. That Greninja, once it got in set up, it was just game over. You know.
Yeah.
I guess I would say for the Pod Squad, just don't let it bring you down, and just keep moving forward. You've got 2 weeks left. Give it all you got. Yep. So with that said, we're probably just going to dive right into the next one.
All right, and then for the final match, we have the Levincia Lightning Rods and the Vaultin Veluzas. 3-0 win for the Lightning Rods.
Yeah. If you watch this one, it was a long one. It's definitely a long one. I feel like people are going to hate watching the Levincia Lightning Rods from now on, because 2 weeks in a row we had 35+ minute videos.
It was one of those that you had a lot of, just do something at the beginning, because it was a lot of back and forth, and then really once it started really going, it went full speed.
Yeah.
But
first kills at I think 18 minutes was the first kill, which was your kill with Gudra. And then 4 minutes later, there was a kill. I killed a Pokemon on your side. And then I don't think it was until maybe close to 30 minutes is when things started snowballing. You know, so there's definitely a lot of mind games with this match. A lot of good prep on both ends, and just really, really fun battle. You know, it was one of my favorites of the season, honestly.
Yeah, Zoroark was so clutch.
Yeah, I'm just glad that I was able to make it work as well as I did. So, but yeah, Zoroark ended up with 5. Your kills were kind of spread. I don't know if you realize this, but Houndstone snagged a kill.
Yeah, with Will-O-Wisp.
Yep, with the Will-O-Wisp.
Damage.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everything matters. You know, whether it's hazards or toxic or burn, you know. So Houndstone got a good little kill there, even though he was underground, I think, at the time. Was he dead when Alomomola was out?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. So he got a kill, but
yeah.
from the sidelines.
Although it would have been appropriate if it was from the grave, given the gimmick of it.
Yes. But yeah.
The name Scraps was a nice Corpse Bride reference.
What was it?
The dog. Scraps.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought you might appreciate that one.
Yeah. I don't know if you give your dog Scraps.
No, not usually.
Okay. Yeah, because it's crazy the difference. Not here we are talking Pokemon. Now we're on dogs. But hey, everybody loves doggos. Because we have a dog that we give snacks to, and all she does is beg. The healer, the twin to yours, Never had. I mean, it had a couple random pieces of human food, but doesn't beg. When we have dinner, she just wants to play. I'm like, okay, I'll throw your ball. I'll eat my food. You're not begging. Great. You know. So it's crazy, just the effect of giving a dog food and not just seeing the difference right in front of your face. But yeah, so we did talk a lot about our breakdown on my Twitch. So if you do want to see like the full breakdown of like us talking about like everything we brought and what we were expecting, I mean, you can go check out my Twitch. But what were some of the major things you think that dictated this battle?
I think Zoroark really played its disguise well. There were a lot of points where I wanted to go for something, and I had to be mindful, like, oh, well, what if it's Zoroark? So even if it wasn't actually, I had to respect that it might be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Your team had a lot of like coverage for switch-ins. So like it had a lot of immunities. It had a lot of like safe switch-ins. You know, it was hard for me because I was running Sneasler trying to poison Pokemon, and you had all these steel types. I'm like, come on, you know, I couldn't safely click Dire Claw, you know. And we saw with my Donphan, I had to just go for Earthquake, even though I knew Corviknight was coming in, you know. So like you had that ground immunity, you know. Typhlosion being there stopped my Skeletors from spamming Will-O-Wisp or Torch Song. So like I thought it was really good prep on your end, for accounting for like those immunities, and just creates a good balance with your team. So a lot of respect, you know, a lot of good prep on your end.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was.
So on the leaderboard, Meowscarada still has the lead with 11. Gyarados with 9 is in second place. And then we have a tie for third with 7 between Torterra, Zapdos, and Greninja. We have 4 Pokemon with 6 kills each. Mimikyu, Mew, Hisuian, Zoroark, and Sneasel. And then we have a host of others with 5 kills lagging behind.
So, when it comes to the changes, Meowscarada stayed on top, but Gyarados snuck in. It was kind of lower on the list. I believe it had like 4 or 5 kills. It might have not have even been on the top 15. But with it sniping, what was it, 5 kills this week? Yeah, it definitely shot it right up to second. Zapdos taking another 2, put it from, you know, not even on the list or tied for the bottom with 5 to hitting number 4 with just those 2 kills. Greninja sneaking up there, making that the 4th Pokemon in the top 15 for highest kills from the Alakazams. Zoroark snuck in the top 15, claiming 5 this week, and tying it with Sneasler and Iron Jugulus. There's a few coaches with a lot of Pokemon. There's some coaches that have snuck a couple in there, here and there. It's kind of interesting just to see, you know, what Pokemon keep getting kills and the new ones that make the list. And we talked last week about the relationship of like how these Pokemon are getting these kills. You know, so like with my case, like a lot of these got 5. Every single one of them got 5 kills, just to put them up here in the first place. You know, in one match, and then, you know, Zoroark and Sneasler getting a second, like a 1 kill previously, where the Meowscarada has been brought every time, getting a couple kills every match. You know, so that's kind of how they, you know, accumulated those kills. It just goes to show, like, a huge sweep can take a Pokemon from not even on the list to number 2. You know, so it is kind of crazy to see some of the changes every week. It's fun to just look and compare. But yeah, with that said, probably not going to dive too much into this. We just wanted to show you guys just the recent changes, and then we can compare to week 6. So with that said, we're just going to dive right into the standings. All right, so we got the standings here. They're quite shaken up this week. We have the Ann Arbor Alakazams taking the number 1 spot. The Serperiors sitting at 2nd. The Lakeside Ledybas sitting at 3rd, 1 point behind. The Levincia Lightning Rods sitting right behind the Ledybas. Then the Storm Watchers. So you can see the differentials. It's a pretty big swing between the top and then the bottom differential. That's 9 points. So it really goes to show like how big wins can really affect you, as well as big losses. The Serperiors were at 17 and dropped them down to 2nd with this loss. But yeah, then the big win for the Ledybas really set them apart. Me picking up a 3-0 win was super nice because I was at a 4 differential. If I would have won like 1-0, I would have just been 1 point away from the Storm Watchers. So it really goes to show, how important the differential is. So the 6th and 7th place goes to Corphish and the Heart Homeless Honeybuns. And there's a 7-point swing between the 2 differentials. So, and differential doesn't matter if you win. So if the Honeybuns win and the Cortando Corphish lose next week, then they will be ahead, even though they have a better differential. So, yeah, So, next is a 3-way tie with D.C.United Tyranitars, Charizard Champions, and the Vaultin Veluzas, and only a 4-point swing between these. So it's still anybody's game, and like I said, a win is all they could need. Differential won't matter as much if you get a win and the others lose. Next up, 3-way tie with 1 and 4, the Ball Rollers, Orlando Orricorios, and the Huntingdon Houndooms. And here there is like a 6-point swing, but like I said, all you need is a win and the others to lose. So it's crazy. It's crazy how we've seen the standings change. So I think it's still anybody's game, to make playoffs. And then last we had the Pod Squad, 0-5. And yeah, all I need is to win and other teams to lose. It's that simple. I know I said it like 3 times, but yeah. So it's definitely going to be a fun to see how week 6 plays out. Because at this point in time, I will go over the drops after this, so there's no confusion. But teams are going to be finalized after this drop list this week, drops or trades. Then teams are finalized, so we're essentially going to be fighting the best builds of each team because we've each made, try to compensate for different things by dropping and picking up new things. So we're essentially having the best teams of the league right here for the last 2 weeks. So it'd be pretty interesting to see. And it's still anybody's game, So top 8 makes playoffs, as you can see on the little sheet here. So yeah, after this, now we're going to dive right into the drops and trades for the week, if there are any. We'll see. All right, so regarding trades and drops, there were none. I guess there was some confusion, and everybody thought the trades were over last week, and so nobody planned on making any drops or trades. So we got final teams, and if there is a change, it was done after this video was already made, which we have a 2-hour window currently, but I don't think anybody's going to make anything at this point. So we're just going to dive right into the matchups for next week, week 6. All right, so the matchups for week 6, there's not going to be any visuals. I'm extremely tired and too lazy to do it currently. So we have the Levincia Lightning Rods taking on the Ann Arbor Alakazams. We got the Pod Squad taking on the Heart Homeless Honeybuns. Orlando Orricorios taking on the Ball Rollers. The Huntingdon Houndooms taking on the Lakeside Ledybas. The Cortando Corphish taking on the D.C.United Tyranitars. The Charizard Champions taking on the Lake Serperiors. And then lastly, the Stormwatchers taking on the Vaultin Veluzas. So it's going to be a pretty hype week 6, and everything's going to be super important. So yeah, let's hope there's some good battles this week. And thank you for watching, guys and girls, everybody watching. And yeah, let's have a happy week 6. I'll see you next week for week 6 recap. Peace.